Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conversations with Joshua T Berglan. And today we have Doc Rick here, who is somebody that I was just telling him before we started, and I stopped and I said, I gotta hit record. Doc is doing something that matters. Not only is his holistic approach what's needed right now in the healthcare space, he also has a vision for the future, and it's obvious because of his media presence. And he's got all of the bases covered. And to me, it's either he stepped into this arena of media because he recognized the need, or he could prophesy the future that this was going to be necessary, or if he knew because he had such a special niche that the only way to get that message out was to attack on all fronts in the media front. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. The fact is he gets it, and he cares so much about his message and this approach to holistic therapy that he's doing what it takes. And I admire that because I know how challenging that is when you have a niche message, and that is not to disrespect. It just, a niche is a niche and it's a specialty. I have a niche message. I'm not meant for the masses. Doc Rick, his message, well, you know what? Maybe it is meant for the masses because what he's talking about is important. It matters. And I am very, very honored to have him here. So ladies and gentlemen, please introduce, or please welcome, the one and only Doc Rick. Doc Rick, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show, Josh. I look forward to having an organic conversation with you.
I love it. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to get into this. I want to ask you about media before we get into your specialty and your message. You've got all of your bases covered. You're doing the blog, you're doing the vlog, you're doing the podcast, you're doing the interviews, you're covering all of your bases to get your message out, and it's very well organized. Where did you learn that? Because a lot of doctors don't understand. Now, they may understand the importance of media because they're willing to pay to get themselves on Dr. Phil, on stuff like that. But that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about media. I'm talking about a well-designed media plan that you are doing and producing yourself. So you may have a team around you, but you've got this independent media thing down well. Where did that come from?
Yeah, well, I basically do have a team that has changed a little bit over time. When I became holistic, roughly 2011, after I met my wife and totally transformed my way of looking at health personally and then professionally. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve along the way with a couple different team like point guards along the way, but a lot of it it's not like this corporate system that I have. It's basically a lot of, you know, trying something and then going with your gut, what's going to work, and then just over time adding things. So the last thing that I have, many years ago, I started doing blogs, and then I started doing 1-minute videos on suggestion of the marketing team point guard. But then I felt that podcasting is definitely the way of the future, because it really, anybody can go in front of their computer and they can get their message across to a lot of people, which is really incredible. I mean, I've been on podcasts that are based in Ireland, England, and when I was talking to somebody in Ireland, they said that most of their audience is in America. So it's just an incredibly way to really make the world smaller. So along the way, I just keep on adding things, and right now I think I have everything in place where I could, and now I'm just bearing down, trying to go on other podcasts to get my message out and build up my own following at the same time, all with the intention of trying to get people to self-empower their overall health by not relying on prescriptions, by looking at the epigenetics and the lifestyle factors that are poo-pooed by most doctors. And that is like the diet and exercise. But even, Josh, even the diet and exercise recommendations that the medical doctors give leaves a lot to be desired.
Mainly, give an example of that, please.
But mainly because there's very little information given. Even myself in podiatry school, I recall maybe 1 hour of a nutritional lecture, maybe touched on a little in pharmacology, but just that was it the whole time. So basically, I took it upon myself once I became aware through my wife's health problems, how she dealt with them, that there's a different way to treat it more naturally. To me, the number one thing behind my approach is I want the fewest side effects, the highest safety profile possible. I took the Hippocratic Oath when I became a doctor, which means first, do no harm. So if you have somebody taking one Advil or Aleve for a painful heel, well, you don't want them to end up in the hospital, but believe it or not, there's a decent chance, it's not a high chance, but they can end up in the hospital with a stomach bleed or an intestinal bleed from taking one Advil. So if I can find a way to do it safer, and I know about it, it would be a disservice not to have my patients take part in a safer approach. Obviously, you got to get them better, and you have to get them better fast, because no one's going to stick around too long. Even if they love your approach, you still have to get them better and do it in a fast way. So I have developed that over the years now, where the learning curve starts, in 2011, and now I'm obviously they call medicine an art and a science. It certainly is, because every day you're practicing, you're trying to come up with a better system, a better approach, a better protocol, and so I keep on getting better with my approach, getting able to add more things to what I'm able to treat.
So let me ask you something about synthetic medication versus bioavailable, naturally occurring medicine. Is it true? Because there's, and who knows what's real at this point, but because there's a lot of conflicting information. I got in this debate with somebody the other day because I was talking about natural medicines and how the earth is providing really everything that we need to be able to heal, yet you can't patent something that comes from the ground, like something that's been birthed. You've got to tweak it. You got to change it. You got to modify it. Right. You got to add something synthetic to it, and then you can get the patent.
Right.
Is it true that synthetic medicine is not bioavailable in the body? And so what happens when you're taking it, eventually your body system will just quit producing that on its own, or the synthetic version, eventually it'll require that you use more and more and more and more and more of it to get the effect, versus something that's bioavailable. You can take it and it works immediately for you. Can you dispel that?
Sure. To me, the number one point that you're talking about on my end is that anything synthetic in your body your body treats it as a foreign invader. So it's the same process that can lead to an autoimmune reaction, which is so common today. That's found, let's just take one little example, gluten sensitivity, which people have, they don't even know they have it. And basically what it is that the lining of the gut allows a large food particle to get through, in that it's not digested properly. Therefore, it's a big clump that your body treats as a foreign invader. Every single prescription is a foreign invader also. All of those, and then your body reacts. From that, you can get 100 different health problems that fall under the category autoimmune reaction, including the famous ones like rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, psoriasis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. All of these can, and just GI issues in general. If someone doesn't recognize that it's the gluten, for instance, if that happens to be the thing that's causing it, if that can be addressed, you can actually turn all of those severe diagnoses around, sometimes as simple as taking gluten out of your diet for 6 weeks and then just bringing it back once a week after that. So all of those things you said, Josh, can be treated as a foreign invader inside your body. So you're 100% on the money. That's why you want to try to use natural things. But of course, you have to be very careful today with the whole natural idea, because now foods are being bioengineered and genetically modified. So that brings a totally artificial food into your body. Your body's not going to recognize it. Who's to say that, you know, you're not going to get a reaction from that, or worse?
Well, and you think, I was reading about synthetic B12, and, you know, they pump B12 in everything and all of these natural organic supplement lines, supposedly. And you look at the B12 that's in it and you're going, that didn't sound natural. And you look it up and it's the synthetic version of B12. And it's like, and then I went back and I started looking through different products that I bought, because I formulate products is one of the things that I get to do and that's how I got into media and entertainment, actually, was creating products. But seeing all of these different health products that have nothing but synthetic versions of the vitamin, I'm like, well, no freaking wonder I feel like crap, or no wonder it feels like I'm just peeing away this money, because essentially that's what I'm doing. It's not doing anything for me. And then I keep also noticing they keep upping the percentage of these ingredients. No wonder, because it's synthetic. And so thank you for that answer. That was very practical. I mean, first of all, it's just common sense to me, but not everybody knows that. And so I hope and pray that what you just said will encourage people to start reading and understanding their labels more. And of course, there's a whole other conversation about the source of ingredients, but we don't have time for that conversation. So let's talk about the feet. So this is something that this is your niche and specialty, and I'm dying to know your approach to this and understand it fully, because at 36 years old, I'm 44 now, I decided to pick up soccer, and I wore bad shoes. And ever since then, my feet, they ache all the time. And it hurts to the point sometimes I can't even walk. And I stretch it and I do all this other stuff. I've had a miserable time. I've tried so many different over-the-counter medications. And what you said about ibuprofen or Advil, you're absolutely right. I can take 2 and feel like my stomach's bleeding. So like, I'm kind of out of options. I'm using hemp creams and different things like that to try to alleviate the pain, but I did a lot of damage. But the reason I brought this up is because I never once thought about my feet. And this is as somebody that our healthcare business, we catered to diabetic patients and diabetic shoes and custom orthotics for diabetics. But I still never, ever once thought about my feet, ever, until now. They ache all the time. I didn't realize how important our feet were, because I walk on them every day and everything had always been fine to this point. Can you talk about the importance of healthy feet and how it affects the rest of our body?
Sure. Well, first of all, your feet are not supposed to hurt. So a lot of times people like you think, oh, they're just my feet, they're supposed to hurt. Well, they're not supposed to hurt. That's the first thing. So when I evaluate a new patient, I'm going to go through their vascular, their neurologic, and most importantly, the orthopedics of their body. And so the thing that I'm going to check on everybody is I'm going to make sure both legs are the same length. I'm going to check and see what their foot type is. So this is a simple thing to explain, but believe it or not, even podiatrists don't get this one right. I have actually developed my own biomechanical theories. That's why it's sort of proprietary to me. But basically, in a nutshell, I'm looking at the foot. Is it a flat foot, which everyone's heard of that one? Yeah. Or is it the opposite, which I call a hard foot? That's a foot that is sometimes associated with a high arch, but the bottom line is that it's a foot that doesn't absorb shock, whereas a flat foot absorbs a lot of shock. And to me, the ideal foot absorbs a little shock. So to me, the ideal foot's a mild flat foot, but anything more than that is pathologic, and anything less than that is pathologic. Most of my patients fall into one or the other. So you want to get that foot typing system in, identify the foot type, because then even if the patient has no interest in going the next step, which is to get an orthotic, which is eyeglasses for your feet, at least let them know you have a flat foot, so you need to control the motion of your foot a lot. So therefore, the best shoe for you might be a sneaker with a firm back behind the heel, with a lace, with an insole that comes out, where you can put an orthotic in to give yourself even more stability. Then from there, getting to the comfort level, people don't realize that they need 1 inch from their longest toe to the end of the shoe. The longest toe could be the first, second, or third. Most of my patients think that the toe needs to be right abutting the end of the shoe, but that's wrong. You need 1 inch because your foot's going to go forward when you walk anyway. That's true. If you give yourself that space, you're going to really reduce your number of forefoot problems you're going to have. And then if you have a bunion, makes your foot wider, or if you have a lot of swelling, makes your foot more beefy, then you need to not just go pay attention to the 1 inch length, but you have to get a wide width, possibly an extra wide. So that's the basis right there. So it's the right shoe, the right size, length and width. And then from there, you bring it up to an orthotic, which is eyeglasses for your feet. I designed my own. I'm able to offer it online, which I'm very proud of, at an economical price. That, to me, the 1-2 punch is a good, stable walking shoe plus an orthotic. Then you're going to promote stability and reduce injuries.
Well, how do you promote where people can buy the orthotics? Because I haven't used yours at all. But what I read about them, they sound amazing. Can you tell everybody about it?
Yeah, what I did is I tried to it's basically the same orthotics that I offer my patients in the office. I designed this personally with a lab, telling them this is how I want to do it. And then I just basically took that whole concept and brought it online, eliminating my firmer one, because to me, another thing that's important with the orthotics is that they need to be comfortable. So you could have the best orthotic out there. If the material's too hard, the patient doesn't wear it, what good is it? So I have a general orthotic with a couple universal prescriptions as the one that I offer online, because I'm not overseeing the prescription writing for it. And then I have another one that I offer that's called the sensitive foot one. So if somebody has spinal stenosis, a bad back, or very sensitive feet, those are the only 2 choices. So that way I'm comfortable knowing that there's a good chance the orthotic will be comfortable. It has some universal prescriptions that I put in it that will control motion of the foot. So that is the key to anything musculoskeletal. You want to control motion.
Okay, so on these orthotics, are you selling them retail, like in retail outlets, or just online direct?
Online store. I have an online store on startwithyourfeet.com, but it's easier for somebody that just wants to like get a little acquainted with it in a quick way. I have a site called DocRicksOrthotics.com, where basically everything's on one page. The explanation, testimonials, and then they can click on, if they wanted to order, they click on the button and it goes to my online store of my website. So that's how I do it online.
Have you ever thought about taking it to QVC or HSN?
No, I've thought about it, but I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm just trying to get this off the ground first.
Well, just to tell you how it's done, it's pretty simple. You can directly submit, but there's also an organization called Arrange Me. Back in the day, you used to have to find the buyers and they were like the gatekeepers for Dillard's and the department Targets of the world. Now Range Me is a centralized agency where they kind of act as your agent, but they're the only way that you can get to most of the retail outlets. It's a great organization. I worked with them with one of the other products that I created, and we got access to department stores and QVC and HSN pretty easily, even though you can go direct to QVC. That is something that would be very simple for you and your team. And also because you are a doctor, that goes a long way with giving you access, because they like those doctor-sponsored products, because people, trust for the most part what their doctor's selling them. So
yeah, this isn't even doctor sponsored. This is doctor design. This was my baby, and I took it to an orthotic lab, and I said, "This is what I want to do. Can you make it happen?" And of course, there was lots of back and forth.
Sure.
But my goal was to make an affordable one. Typically, in a doctor's office, they're selling orthotics for $500, $600, $700, $800. And that's all well and good. But I find that when I would approach patients with something not that high, but high enough, and a lot of them would need it, and they'd say, no, I can't afford it. So that's why I wanted to come up with an idea that would be quick for me to do, not too time consuming. Therefore, I don't have to charge as much.
Yeah.
And so make it more accessible and make it easy for them to use it, and make it comfortable and let it do something. So that was my mission, and I accomplished it.
No, it's a good mission, because those orthotics are ridiculously overpriced. Having with diabetic shoes and worked with the custom inserts, I know what you're talking about. The markup is insane. You call something medical, and all of a sudden you can charge 20 times more for it, and you go,
Right.
you go somewhere else and don't call it medical, and it's like, wait a second, it's the same thing. That happens with skincare all the time. Like when I started working with OEMs and the contract manufacturers to make skincare and cosmetics, one of the things that I noticed was that some of the doctor's office products that were $300 were also in Target for 10. I'm like, wait a second, this is insanity to me. This is so screwed up. So I love that you're doing that, and I honor you for that. Are you doing an affiliate program or anything like that for it?
I can't. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, affiliate programs are great, especially if you're doing online stores. And there's so many, like Reversion's one that's pretty good. There's a lot of them, and what it does is it gives people the opportunity to promote your product for you, like through video content, blogs, any of the media alternatives. And essentially, if they sell for you, somebody clicks their unique link and they buy, they get a small commission, whether it's 3% or 20%. You decide that. But it's most online stores that it's one of the best way to hire sales reps without having to pay a bunch of salaries. But it can be very, very effective. I didn't know if you were doing that.
Haven't done it yet, but that's a good idea.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think it would be. Listen again, and maybe it's because I'm personalizing this so much because I have such bad feet, and I go through inserts all the time, and nothing really works for me that makes me comfortable, where I'm not aching the next day. Like I may feel good during the day, but then the next day I feel like I just had the crap beat out of me, and that's not fun.
No.
So I'm sincerely interested. That's why I'm asking all of these questions. So I don't want to ask you about your wife's health issues, but I do want to ask you about the going from the traditional way that doctors are trained to think and believe and practice medicine to a more holistic approach. For you, having all that training and then to make that shift because of something deeply personal, was there a warfare that took place with your mind because you were breaking away from your training to do something that was so different? Like, how did that affect you as a professional? That, you know, like, because a lot of people in the medical community look at the holistic approach as voodoo. So how was that transition for you?
Yeah, well, I actually did a surgical residency after I finished my training, but I did not want to do surgery. But basically, you have to do it in order to get licensed in certain states. I had no intention of doing it. So then I get out in practice. I'm down in Florida, 1989. I was always skeptical about even giving a cortisone injection. I gave them early on. I was always hesitant to give prescriptions, and I was always not happy about having to rely on these traditional medicines that I was trained in.
Yeah.
So it was an easy transition away from that, because even from the very beginning, like I did a surgical residency, but I didn't want to do surgery, but I wanted to have the background in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to rely on the traditional treatments, because deep down, even before I became more aware, I knew that if you give a cortisone injection more than a few times to an area, you actually get tissue destruction.
Oof.
And you can help the problem temporarily. But let's say on a heel, if you give more than a couple of shots on the bottom of a heel, you're going to eat away the fat pad there. So somebody 20 years down the line is going to be walking on the bone. They're going to lose their natural fat pad. They're not going to be able to be comfortable in the bathroom going from their sink to the shower. But, oh yeah, my heel pain got better, but, oh, I won't be able to walk 20 years from now in the bathroom to get to the shower. So it's like, I always knew that there was something bad about that I didn't want to take part in. So as soon as I had the light turned on, so to speak, with how I viewed my wife dealing with a fibromyalgia diagnosis and switching from all of the prescriptions and all of the recommendations and taking a holistic approach, I said, this is the way to do it. And so I made it my mission to find out what to do. And I did. It's a lot of, I took a course, but besides that, it's a lot. I just found some very good mentors along the way and was able to take pearls from everybody and then just formulate my own protocols, which is, it's still ongoing because I'm still making changes and tweaks in my protocol. So it was an easy thing for me to switch to because deep down, I was always thinking, what are the side effects of this drug? What can it cause? So like the Advil, it can cause a stomach ulcer. It can also cause gluten sensitivity. It can raise your blood pressure. Taking a lot of it can cause kidney disease. And believe it or not, they can cause strokes and heart attacks. You wouldn't think so, but it can.
Yeah, you know, and I probably a year ago would not have believed that preservatives could cause heart issues too, and, and gut issues and everything else, and took a deep dive on that. Oh my God, what have we been putting in our body? Like how, I don't even know how this is allowed. All the dyes and it's just, it's frightening to me because it seems like we're born into this game of death, and we have to figure out somehow, some way how to navigate all of these obstacles, because it's a bunch of obstacles. When you think about life of, okay, I want to have my mind, body, and soul, like just to be on point, clean, pure. And yet when you wake up and you start looking around at what we consume, what's in our water, what's in our food, how our food was grown, the source of these ingredients that we think are going to save us, all of these things. And it's so frustrating. And then on top of that, to know people like you who are truly one of the good ones. And you don't, I can say that I've met you just now, but I can say that because I understand the fight that you're against. You're kind of put into a chiropractor category of that's voodoo medicine. And I'm not trying to insult chiropractors or you. I'm not saying that. I'm complimenting you. It's just that people, when you go this organic, functional medicine, I forgot the word that I'm looking for, holistic approach, your peers turn around and go, who the F are you? Like it's the cop that stands up and go, no, I'm not gonna, never mind, I'm not gonna open that door. I'm stopping there. I just admire it because I understand from in a different way, because I'm not a physician, but having worked with physicians, I understand that that is a tough road for you. And I admire the stand that you're taking. I admire the approach that you're taking. It's why I got into media, because I understand that media controls the narrative. You know, and whoever controls the media has a lot of power, but you're taking it in your own hands to go this route of independent media so your voice can be heard. And your voice is one of the voices that I want to elevate. Why I do what I do is because of people like you, because I believe this message carries over just outside of the feet. It carries into mind, body, and soul. So again, I admire you a lot. What for you, because you got a lot of different things going on, your podcast, blog, vlog, your books, your mini videos, your YouTube channel, your practice, your online stores. I love the fact that you're doing all of it. But I also know you're working on something else. Other than tinkering and perfecting everything, what's that next big project that you're working on, if you can talk about it?
Well, the next thing that I'm doing is I want to try to take my message to businesses and health groups in the form of a webinar, because just as you said, I totally agree with you, Josh. these podcasts and the way things are set up now is very advantageous to somebody with an outside the box thinker, because mainstream media is not going to give you the time of day. But if you have your own channel and then you get your audience, well, then you can get your message out. So what my next thing that I'm going to be working on is just trying to get in front of, whether it's a small business or large business. I have a presentation called Your Business Benefits When You Start With Your Feet. Talks about some basic principles. And then if there's like a health group, a runners group, a vegetarian group, of course, that would be a great group for me to talk about also. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to invite you, once I start this campaign, all the people that have had me on as a guest, I'm going to invite to collaborate with me. If you happen to have any group that you want to do a joint webinar with, I'm all for it. I want to be able to get people aware that there's a different approach. Going back a second to talking about the synthetics in B12. The regular B12 that's sold most of the time is called cyanocobalamin. Comes from cyanide. That has to be converted to methylcobalamin. So I'm a vegetarian for about 7-8 years now. I do eat eggs, so I get my B12 that way, but I just take a B12 anyway. Which B12 am I taking? I'm going to take the bioavailable B12, which is methylcobalamin, and I'm not going to take it as a pill. I'm going to take it as a sublingual lozenge, because if you take B12 as a pill, once it hits your stomach, the acid in your stomach destroys it. What? So you need to go under your tongue, let it dissolve, and then it acts like an IV. It gets into your system intravenously that way.
Putting this in my phone. I didn't know that part.
So yeah, so you need to take that one sublingual. And another instance of that is if you see like B complex. I have a lot of patients that tell me that I take B complex. Well, take a look at the label of the B complex, and all of those B's that are in that B complex are all non-bioavailable. So that means your body has to convert them. And as you said earlier, a lot of that conversion has gone away in your urine. You're going to lose 95% of that conversion. So that's why going back now to a multivitamin. What's the #1 multivitamin out there? Centrum, right? Everyone, Centrum, okay? And look at the label. It's all synthetic. You might as well be taking a prescription. So what do I do instead? I recommend taking a food-based multi made from real food, or what I do personally, which I picked up from Hippocrates Institute, one of the leading natural healing centers in the world. It's in West Palm Beach, so not too far from where I live. I took a ride up there one day. I tried to immerse myself in that place, and they promote wheatgrass juice to stage 4 cancer patients and are able to reverse, along with other methods, some of those stage 4 cancers where patients are told they have 6 months to live. So the wheatgrass is like you're taking the sun and the energy from the sun and all of these vitamins and nutrients and minerals, you're bringing it into your body. So I personally take wheatgrass tablets as my multi. You know, you can do wheatgrass juice, but you have to do it fresh, and it's a little labor intensive. So I just do the tablets, and I know that I'm taking in the sun every day.
Yeah, it must be nice living in Florida. I'm in freaking Minnesota, and it's cold already. But I used to live in Boca. What part of Florida are you in?
I'm in Hollywood.
Oh, my uncle lives there. My aunt and uncle, they live right on the beach there. Yeah, I know that area well. I miss Florida.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah, exactly. I don't miss taking a shower after I shower though, because I'm sweating so much. I don't miss that, but I do miss a lot of my. I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of people I went to college with there, and I love that community. I've worked in healthcare, a place called Suncoast Pharmacy in surgical supply. Hi, this is Howie, that guy in Boca. Yeah, I worked there for a little bit and ran their mobility product division. So I learned a lot about healthcare living in Florida, and I learned a lot about fraud living in Florida. So like Medicare fraud and those little gimmicks with medical equipment. Yeah, I was around for those crazy days. Anyway, listen, Doc, I absolutely admire what you're doing, the whole approach and the way you're going about it. We already talked about the media. We talked about the holistic approach. I love all of it, and anything that we can ever do to support you, please let us know. I believe in what you're doing, and I'm actually going to go check out your orthotics because my feet, like I need something, and I promise if they help my feet, I'll sing your praises to anyone that'll listen. So, but I want to give you the opportunity to plug your business, social media, where people can follow you, where people can buy the orthotics or anything else that you have going on. You take these last few minutes, plug anything you want, and say anything you want.
Okay, great. So my brand is called startwithyourfeet.com. That's my website, and I have the orthotic information, as I said earlier, docricksorthotics.com, where you can get all the good information on one page without having to scroll around. I have my own podcast called Holistic Strides. I'm up to about 14 episodes. I'm putting that out twice a month. It's about a half-hour show. Putting it out twice a month right now. I'm laying down a lot of content right now, so I'm not having guests yet. So I have a lot of content to go through before I'm starting to bring guests on. But when I do, you'll be invited to be a guest. And those are the three main ones there. I'm going to start up the webinar campaign on LinkedIn, try to approach some HR people and anybody that has a group that's interested. You can email me, docrick@startwithyourfeet.com. And so the one thing that I do want to say before I leave is my message about exercise. I want to get people exercising more, but not in the way that their primary care physician tells them. Their primary care physician will look at the sheet that's given to them and say, you need to exercise 3 to 5 times a week, 30, 40, 60 minutes, blah, blah, blah. I want people to spend on the aerobic part only 12 minutes in a strategic way. And it's my version of interval training, which was taken from a doctor in Palm Beach, Royal Palm Beach, who had scientific studies, and there are studies to back this. Basically, it's a fast, slow way to exercise that anybody can do. Even a 90-year-old patient in a wheelchair can get a foot pedal, a bicycle pedal. You put it on the floor and you could sit in a regular chair. And basically, I want people to start incorporating this 12-minute form of exercise that, to me, is the opposite of marathon running. Marathon running wears your body down. No matter how healthy you think you're making, it's making your heart inefficient. Short bursts are the way to go. That's how our ancestors, the cavemen, did it. They did short bursts of speed to get their prey. And that's what we're ingrained in our body. So basically, I tried to take this approach by that doctor in Palm Beach, and I tried to make it more realistic. So here's my approach. Basically, I'm just going to tell you what I do. I go out on my street in the morning before I go to work. That's the key thing also. Get it in early. You don't have it hanging over your head and there's no excuses. Just get it early. I sprint for 20 seconds. Then I walk for about a minute, catch my breath. Then I go the other way, sprint again, 20 seconds. I do that 6 times. Then the final 3, I do it 15 seconds. The key when I do that is I go faster on the 15. So the final 3 at 15, which is a shorter time, a faster speed. So the whole workout is 12 minutes. By going faster at the end, you're actually building your body up. So you're strengthening your lungs. You're strengthening your heart. You're going into a 12-hour fat afterburn with this method. You're going into increased oxygenation all over your body. So basically, you're giving yourself like ozone therapy all over your body with the change of speeds, and you're oxygenating when you're doing that. And I can proudly say I'm 63 years old now. I started doing it when I was 50. It's anti-aging. And I think I'm a little bit of proof of that because it keeps your chromosomes long. It keeps the tips of your chromosomes long. If that's the case, you're not going to age as fast.
You talking about telomeres?
So the telomeres, yeah.
Yeah.
Interval training keeps the telomeres intact. It doesn't fray and get short, and that causes aging. So to me, That's giving yourself stem cell treatment without spending $10,000. So what's not to like? So, and the beautiful thing about this form of exercise, let's say that you can't do 20 seconds fast. Maybe you can only do 15. But the bottom line is just add up your fast intervals, make them add up to 2 minutes, and go faster at the end. And then you're building your body up. That's the principle. You can do it on an exercise bike. You can do it walking. You can do it running, a treadmill, elliptical, exercise bike, or in the pool. You can do it anywhere you want. Just try to do it 5 days a week and do it in the morning. Get it out of the way. And you're going to set yourself up. That's the one thing. So I'm going to cite a case study that said exercising 4 to 5 times a week in this way is going to, along with not smoking, along with drinking alcohol in moderation. Myself, I actually cut out alcohol completely, and eating a plant-based diet, doing that plus the interval training, you're going to add 10 to 14 years to your life by doing that.
Wow.
That's something to consider for sure.
Yeah, it is. Man.
And if somebody has a lot of time on their hands, let's say they're retired and they have 2 hours to exercise, I say that's great. Do your interval training at the start of your session and then walk for the remainder of the time. Do not run, because the running will wear your body down and it will inevitably cause an overuse injury either in your foot, ankle, knee, hip, or back. Something's going to happen when you go running a long distance. Something's going to break down, especially if you're over 40. So that's my signature cause that I needed to get in there because I feel so strongly about it. And it's such an easy thing to do. You don't have to have this 1 hour form time slot over your head saying, oh no, I got to do this again for an hour. You know, like you see people on the treadmill, they're watching TV and they're on there for an hour. And it's like, you can see they're bored to death. This is like really short and sweet. Do it in your whatever your favorite form of exercise in, and you know you're going to get that runner's buzz when you're done. You know that you're doing such a good thing for yourself by doing that without relying on a prescription. By doing that, you're going to lose some weight. If you do a couple of simple things with your diet, as long as your hormones check out, you're going to be less likely to have chronic disease like heart disease, diabetes, metabolic syndrome. So you're going to be an overall healthier person. You'll be less likely to go see the doctor. Hopefully you can get yourself off prescriptions stepwise, just like my wife did with her fibromyalgia diagnosis. She went off one prescription at a time. Eventually she got off all of them. Just switched it with lifestyle and supplements and dietary changes.
Wow. That's good stuff. Doc Rick, you're a blessing. I'm grateful for you. And I'm excited to check out the Orthotics.
I think you're gonna like them. My patients love them.
I can't wait, man. Well, you have a blessed weekend, and wish you nothing but the best. I look forward to talking to you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, my pleasure, Josh. It's been a treat.
Yeah. My come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain, 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool. 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another, yeah. I go low like undercover, yeah. Wanna know my name, 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름. Yes, you can even guess me, cause I'm baby. High low 확실해, not like maybe, yeah. Level, welcome to my palace. 찾지 않아 Alice, you just keep on wonder. You just keep on wonder. 찾지 않아 Alice, 버려 너의 memory. I just pop a bin, Danny have been. 나는 걸어 Boeing 747, 날 get weak, get ready. Like I wanna get late. 준비해 빨리, we ain't got a lot of time, man. Wavy night. Jameson hit the rock bottom. 잃어버린 정신 머리들, yeah, got 'em. Yeah, I shot 'em. 모든 problems. 언제까지 기다려야 할래, now gone. Yeah. yeah. 너의 come on never sleep on me eyes on my chain 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another yeah I go low like undercover yeah wanna know my name 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 guess you can even guess me cause I'm baby high low로 확실해 not like maybe Baby let me welcome to my palace 찾지 않아 Alice you just keep on wonder You just keep on wonder 찾지 않아 Alice 버려 너의 memory I just pop a bin Danny have been 나는 걸어 Boeing 747 날개 we get ready